students, how are you? Hope all of you are fine and safe at your home. Students, our poetry number 7 is Animals, written by Walt Whitman. Here students, in this poem, the poet tells us that he feels more at home with animals than humans, whom he finds complicated and false. So first I read the poem to you, so you have to listen it carefully. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bringing me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their positions. I wonder they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them from song of myself in leaves of grass? Here students, in this poem, from I Think Too Long, in these lines the poet says that he wants to turn into an animal and wants to live with animals. According to the poet, that animals looks calm, peaceful and self-controlled. They never complain for any problem. Due to these qualities of animals, the poet wants to spend a long time with them. He stands and looks at them for a very long time. Now from they do not sweat to duty to God, in these 3 lines, the explanation is that now in these lines, the poet says that animals do not complain and cry about their condition like humans do. Unlike humans, animals do not stay awake in the night and weep for the sins done by them. Here, the poet means that animals are different from human beings because they do not show anger or grief. Further, he says that animals do not make him feel sick by discussing their duty to God. The poet here means that animals do not pray to God for forgiveness or ask God to fulfill their desires like humans do. Now from line, not one is discussed to whole earth. In these lines, the poet says that he does not find even a single animal that may appear to be dissatisfied. There is not single animal who suffers from the obsession of possessing more and more things. Animals do not show respect or bow their heads to other animals or to their ancestors like humans do. According to the poet, all animals are equal and they do not need to respect one another. So for the animals, no one is respectable and unhappy on the earth. Now from lines, so they chose to drop them. In these lines, the poet says that the animals show their similarities to him, which he accepts happily. He feels that animals represent human beings in some way. They seem to have innate qualities that humans once had, that is, virtues like kindness, self-contentment and innocence. Animals remind the poet of these qualities that symbolize the lost values of the humans. The poet wonders about how animals had got these qualities. The poet believes that the humans carelessly dropped these virtues a long time ago, and how forgotten all about them in their madness to possess more things. In this poem, student, the central idea of the poem is the poem Animals shows the poet's love for the animals. According to the poet, Animals are better than human beings and have all the qualities that humans lack or have forgotten. The poet wants to turn into an animal and experience a life which is free of sins and sorrows. The theme of the poem is not to say how good animals are, but to compare humans with them in order to highlight the flaws of human nature. The poet believes that probably a very long time ago, humans possessed all these qualities, but they have lost them now. Now, the poetic devices used in the poems are personification. The poem has uniform personification. Then repetition of words, phrases in the same line, like I stand and look at them long and long. They do not one is. Now alliteration means repetition of initial consonant sounds in the same line, like they do not make me sick. Make and me, the same consonant letter. I wonder where they get those tokens. Here wonder where they get those tokens. They, those tokens. Now metaphor, it compares two objects to give a clearer meaning to one of them. Tokens are innate qualities of humans, and the rhyming scheme of there is no rhyming scheme. The poem is in free verse. This poem is in free verse, so there is no rhyming scheme in that poem. So students, here we complete our poetry number 7, Animals by Walt Whitman. So you have to write this poem in your notebook and try to understand it.